Hola a todos, ¿qué tal? Soy Laura. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you when we use el pretérito indefinido and el pretérito imperfecto. This causes so much confusion to Spanish students, and to be honest, I'm not surprised. In English, it is way easier. I'll refer to it as indefinido and imperfecto, just so I don't have to say the whole name, as it's just a little bit long. I'll give you the information on how it's used in small doses with examples, rather than the whole explanation and then all the examples at the end. I'm just trying to make it as easy as I can, so I'll explain this to you the way I'd like someone to explain it to me, if that makes sense. I'm also going to give you plenty of examples. Okay, let's not waste any more time and let's begin. Vamos. Okay, so we use el indefinido to speak about actions or past situations that have occurred at a particular time in the past. And we use el imperfecto to talk about regular actions in the past. Let's see some examples. El martes pasado fui a casa de María, with indefinido. Last Tuesday I went to Maria's house. De pequeña me gustaba mucho el chocolate, with imperfecto. When I was little, I liked chocolate very much, or I used to like chocolate very much. The indefinido tells us what happened yesterday, last week, last month, last year, a particular date such as the 10th of July. Whereas the imperfecto tells us what used to happen or what would normally happen every day, always or each Monday, for instance, every year, etc. Por ejemplo, el otro día, después de la clase, comimos en casa de María, with indefinido. The other day, after class, we ate at Maria's. Cuando era pequeña, iba todos los días después de comer a casa de María, with imperfecto. When I was little, I used to go to Maria's house every day after school. Ese día dimos un paseo por el bosque, with indefinido. That day we walked in the woods. Dábamos paseos por el bosque todos los días, with imperfecto. We used to walk in the woods every day. We use the indefinido to talk about a finished action or situation in the past, like something that we did last summer, last year, etc. Por ejemplo, last year we went to Spain. El año pasado fuimos a España. But we use the imperfecto to talk about an action or situation in development in the past. Por ejemplo, estábamos en España cuando perdimos la cartera. We were in Spain when we lost our wallet. So the indefinido, it's generally used to refer to past actions like ayer comí paella. Yesterday I ate paella. John entró por la puerta trasera. John came through the back door. The imperfecto is generally used to refer to circumstances that involve an action in the past. Let's take the same examples from earlier. Ayer comí paella en casa de Juan y toda su familia también estaba allí. Yesterday I ate paella at Juan's and his whole family was there too. Juan entró por la puerta trasera mientras yo estaba fregando los platos. Juan came through the back door whilst I was doing the dishes. Let's see more examples. María fue a Madrid la semana pasada y dijo que la gente era muy simpática y que todos iban vestidos muy elegantes. Maria went to Madrid last week and said that people were very friendly and that everyone was dressed very elegant. Anoche, cuando vi a Luis, estaba con sus amigos de siempre. Last night, when I saw Luis, he was with his usual friends. So, as you can see, we use them both frequently in the same sentence. We use the imperfecto for actions in development and the indefinido for actions that have happened during that first action in development. ¿Ok? Por ejemplo, cuando estaba en tu casa, oí a tu abuela toser. When I was at yours, I heard your nan coughing. We can also say that the other way around. Oí a tu abuela toser cuando estaba en tu casa. Sometimes those certain actions are interrupted. Let's see an example. Juan se cayó mientras corría por el bosque. Juan fell whilst he was running in the woods. Ayer, mientras me duchaba, Juan me llamó por teléfono. Yesterday, whilst I was showering, Juan called me on the phone. Ayer, cuando estaba en casa, una mosca entró por la ventana. Yesterday, when I was at home, a fly came through the window. Other times, when we talk about two actions happening at the same time, we use the imperfecto for both, as long as it's also not being specific of when this happened, so the elements of time are missing. Messages in the imperfecto don't tell when specifically, but they do tell when in general. For example, bebíamos vino mientras cenábamos. We were drinking wine whilst we were eating. Mientras Juan se lavaba el pelo, yo me preparaba para ir al cine. Whilst Juan washed his hair, I was getting ready to go to the cinema. So the key to el indefinido is how many times the actions happen, and there is also a time frame, like a specific time, certain number of actions or enclosed amount of time. Also, these actions are finished in the past. For example, I called you 3 times. Te llamé 3 veces. I called you at 3. Te llamé a las 3. I worked 3 hours. Trabajé 3 horas. The key to el imperfecto is that it tells us the circumstances or situations that involve the action. They are actions that are more constant, like a habit, something that used to happen. And it's also used when we don't express the beginning or the end of an action. For instance, el otro día, cuando me cansé de ver la tele, me puse el pijama, me bebí la manzanilla y me acosté. Mi habitación estaba muy oscura y, aunque no podía ver nada, podía oír a los vecinos. Y, además, no entraba nada de luz por la ventana. The other day, when I got tired of watching telly, I put on my PJs, I drank my chamomile tea, and I went to bed. My room was very dark, and although I couldn't see anything, I could still hear the neighbors. So I've used the imperfecto to describe that circumstance, how the surroundings were when I went to bed. Let's see another example. Ayer, cuando fui al supermercado, había mucha gente y hacía mucho frío porque las neveras estaban abiertas. Yesterday, when I went to the supermarket, there was a lot of people and it was very cold because the fridges at the supermarket were open. Cuando tenía 15 años, siempre iba al cine los domingos, pero al cumplir 17, dejé de ir. When I was 15, I used to go to the cinema every Sunday, but when I became 17, I stopped going. Cuando era pequeña, para mi cumpleaños, siempre me regalaban muñecas, pero una vez me regalaron un camión. When I was little, I always used to get dolls for my birthday, but one time I got a lorry. I used the indefinido at the end because it only happened once, and el imperfecto to say that I always used to get dolls. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to say is that usually for descriptions in the past, we use el imperfecto. So for people, things, your pet, things that don't change, imperfecto. But when we describe an event or a trip, we can use both. For example, how was the party? ¿Qué tal la fiesta? The party was great. La fiesta estaba genial. O la fiesta estuvo genial. We tend to use more often the indefinido. However, both are correct. But remember that that's okay as long as it's an event or a trip. Don't do this when you are describing your friend or your car or your house, etc. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope you understand a little bit better the difference between these two verbal tenses. Venga, I'll see you very soon for more Spanish. Hasta luego, adiós.